Good evening, and welcome to the December 3rd, 2025 Select Board meeting. Call this meeting to order at 7:01. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by WACA-TV, live streamed on Facebook. Remote participation is available using the Zoom video conference platform. Any disruption with the video conference platform will result in the platform being shut down. And the broadcast will continue on WACA-TV, live streamed on Facebook. This meeting is called to order, and at this time, I welcome citizens' participation. If anybody is here for citizens' participation, come up to the podium and identify yourself and tell us what you have to say. No, you can. We're going to let you discuss when we bring it up at that time frame. But if you want to bring it up now, you can do that as well. I'll give you two options, whatever you want to do. You want to wait? Okay. We can do that. We can do that. Good morning. It's morning somewhere. Nice to see you all. Thank you for being here. I don't know if there's anybody on remote that has any questions or anything. I don't see any hand raised. If you do, please raise your hands and we can call you if you have any comments on citizens' participation. If not, it's almost 7:05. Perfect timing.
That clock is wrong.
It is.
It's almost 7:10.
It's almost 7:07. Mine's at 7:08. Mine's at 7:08, so we're behind schedule, sorry. Okay, seeing that there's nobody here for citizens' participation, I'd be more than happy to turn it over to our town attorney, Lisa Mead, for legal updates. Lisa, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. It's great to be here. A lot of the things I'm going to talk about you saw at town meeting. Obviously, the last couple of months, we've been doing a lot of work in preparation of town meeting. It was particularly heavy town meeting related to real estate, which takes a lot of our time related to the title work and the agreements that have to be done. But we spent a lot of time on the Donnelly property that the town meeting agreed to convey to the Town Forest Committee. There are title issues and plans, and there was a drafted gift agreement, and tonight, later on, you're going to approve that, so it's followed through on. Rob St. Germain, of course, as you know, was very instrumental in all of those items. Additionally, there's another piece of the Donnelly property that's adjacent to that that we've been working to kind of unwind a tax-taking issue on that happened a whole host of years ago, probably 25 years ago, that was done incorrectly. So with Cindy and the your tax-taking attorney, that has now been unwound, and you'll be hearing about that in the future as well, and I think that's going to be beneficial to the town. Similarly, there was an approval at town meeting regarding some zany property up off of Brackett Street in Ashland and Giles Street in, or Gould Street in Framingham. And that is, from a title attorney's point of view, has been very interesting. It's been probably frustrating for Becca and for other people because we're working on a grant with Framingham, but there's a significant parcel of land there, but the assessor's maps don't match the deed descriptions and don't match the plans. And so they've all had to be disassociated, so to speak, and re-put together with your surveyors who've been doing a great job and our senior title attorney. So hopefully that'll be resolved shortly so that can all be completed before the expiration of the grant in the spring. As you know, we've been working diligently on the 340B projects in town as well, Main Street, Waverly Street, and West Union Street, and those continue. I worked a lot with Catherine, reviewing the issues related to the various CPA grants and in particular YMCA, so we had to work through some issues with that. Let me just update you also on the Gaynor litigation to the extent that I can in open session. We still do not have a decision from the court. That was the UGC Gaynor litigation over the validity of the purchase and sale agreement, the trial that took place a year ago, January, where everybody thought the decision was going to be weeks away after the trial. And then the other litigation in that same development is the challenge of the comprehensive permit by Gaynor against UGC in the town, saying that UGC didn't have site control. And so that's the threshold issue in that matter. So if the judge in the first case found that the purchase and sale agreement was valid, then the current case would go away, because that's their main challenge to the purchase and sale, to the comprehensive permit. The current judge said that she would try to reach out and get the judge to move along. I don't know if that happened or not, but we still don't have a decision. So that case is going to be decided on what they call a case stated argument. So it's not a summary judgment, but the parties have to agree on basically the world of the facts, so to speak, and it will be decided on the papers and an argument on the papers. And because the facts will be laid before the court. That was supposed to be happening on January 30th, but UGC counsel is not available on that date, so they're working out dates with the counsel on the other side. But right now, it's still on for January 30th, but it's not going to happen on that date because counsel's not available. We've been working with the Affordable Housing Trust on a grant for Habitat for Humanity on the project that they're working on in town. So that's been going on. And we've done some pretty significant contract review on the water main replacement for Union and Fountain Street, and then on the ozone equipment replacement at the water treatment plant as well. So that's been going on. And as of today, we will be starting our work on the amendment to or renewal of the Framingham IMA for the sewer and the MWRA connection. We got a notice today, literally, from Framingham, and so we have a meeting scheduled next week to start working with staff on that. So it actually expires at the end of next year, but there's a requirement that notice be given before the end of this year about the renewal process, and we got that notice today from Framingham.
Is that a 2 or 3 year?
Oh, the entire agreement? 20 year.
20 years, okay.
Right.
Is there, ooh, that's loud. Is there any way that items in there can be renegotiated as far as?
You can work on an amendment to the extension.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a mutual agreement.
Gotcha,
Right.
all right. Because I know way back when we struck that agreement, it was mediated, right? It was a mediated agreement, which is how.
The original agreement, right, the original agreement was a result of litigation. And in fact,
Right,
yeah.
I was gonna say, because
Yeah.
that's how the price.
That's right.
The cost for our sewer,
That's right, the
is as
town
high as
lost,
it is,
and there was
yeah.
a significant payment that had to be made up front in the first 5 years, $2 million or something like that. And that DTE decision is actually attached to the agreement.
So is there any way to negotiate?
So the
That
major part of those payments were done,
Okay,
and obviously the construction is done.
but the
And
rate,
so
basically?
The rate, it's going to be a negotiation, and it's
Okay.
also based upon their rates.
Okay, gotcha, okay, thanks.
And then the other thing that Catherine and I are working on at the request of the chair is an open meeting law training. And so we're looking at some dates, Wednesdays, either in January or in February. We're going to try to get those nailed down next week. The idea is to have it on a Wednesday because town hall's open late that day. And I have found in my experience, most of the communities I have a late night. And so if you try to bridge between staff, who staff boards, and the boards who meet at night, who people go to work during the day, and you do it like at 6 o'clock, for example, you get your best turnout, and everybody that needs to have the benefit of the training will train. So we're looking at doing it at 6 o'clock, and as both virtual and in person. The most recent one I did, which was about a month and a half ago, it was October, I guess. Yeah, so about a month and a half ago. I had about, it wasn't here, it was in another community, but we did it at 6 o'clock, and we had about 25 or 30 people in person, and we had about 25 or 30 people online. So I think
Good to know.
it makes it better for people to have the option on how to do it. So we'll get that together.
Good, thank
right.
you, appreciate that.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. Appreciate all the work that your office does for us.
You're welcome.
Not an easy thing, is it?
It's a lot of fun, though. Never a dull moment.
We keep you busy.
Never a dull moment.
And she says it with a smile.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Lisa.
I do have a question, maybe not necessarily for you, maybe more for Michael. As far as like the budget goes for our legal services, I know when we do town council evaluation, there's a line item on there on budget. We never really see what the costs are, and I feel like it would be good to kind of have that information. Also, because this year is a high-intensity year
Right.
with all the 40Bs.
Right.
So it might be good to just kind of have a sense of like what those costs look like at some point.
Yeah, I usually breaks them down and then also by general categories.
Okay.
So you can see.
We break them down, so, and I think she breaks them down even more, but for Ashland and a couple of my other communities, they like to see what the categories are, like, general government, planning, litigation, zoning, and we try to, sometimes we miss one or two, but we try to bill them in those categories, so
Okay.
that when you get our bills, they're broken down in those categories.
Okay.
So you can kind of get where the stuff is. It's not always a perfect science, but.
No, but I think it would be great to
Yeah.
put it on as an agenda item in January, February, just to review.
That would also tie into just a general update on a quarterly basis of where we are with our budget, right? I mean, we're now in November, we've gone through the first quarter of 2026 fiscally. So in January, it'd be great to get an update as to where we are, budget to actual, and if we've seen any savings or increases, then obviously I would expect our legal costs will be a little bit higher based on what we actually budgeted this part of the year.
Great, thank you. Good to see you all. Thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's 5-0. Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I shut mine down because we're getting a lot of reverb up here. So I wasn't sure if it was my mic or somebody else's. We're good now? Yeah. Okay. I still have that 1 foot leeway here. Okay. With respect to that, I would like to bring up under old new business update on 40B projects. And I know I have a few people that are in the audience this evening that I will have no problem having you come up and be part of this discussion with us, okay? So, Michael, if you would like to brief us on an update on the status of some of these 40Bs, and I will have Ms. Gonfardi and Ms. Manuel come up to the podium when you're ready.
Sure. So I do have updates on each of the 340Bs that are before the town right now. So I'll start with 10 to 60 Main Street. So I think the board's well aware. The public hearing remains open. The Zoning Board of Appeals intends to close the public hearing on 12/9/25. And the ZBA at that point must issue a decision within 40 days. So no public comment or additional information can be provided legally at that time. One important update I want to make sure everybody is aware of. We did get some updated answers from the Department of Environmental Protection, and it looks like it was written on behalf of DEP and EPA. So those came in on Monday, December 1st. So those are now posted on the website. And so those are some enhanced responses to some of the questions that they had received, both the original ones and some of the follow-up ones. Related to 61 Waverly Street, again, the public hearing's closed. So a working session was suggested to draft the decision, and that was ultimately not necessary, didn't take place. The ZBA is planning on reviewing the draft decision on December 9th, and the decision, you know, if it's issued then, must be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. And so that's 61 Waverly. 55 West Union Street. Also, these are just ZBA, I should point out, ZBA items, not Concom. 55 West Union Street, so that public hearing still remains open, as well as public comment. The next hearing is also on December 9th. So we're waiting for the second peer review for stormwater, also the second peer review on traffic. They did get the first peer review for the civil engineering on December 2nd, so that did come in. So the applicant, they just need some time to reply to the civil review, and they'll probably have to go through another round of that before they get some finalized decisions on that civil peer review process. Yeah, any questions?
Michael, I just wanted to clarify, when these hearings close, then the ZBA has 40 days to
Correct.
issue their decision, and it includes, based on waivers, any conditions or that they want to put on the project.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Connie, John, if you would like to come up.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Excuse me. Hello, Drunken Friday. I'm on the Historical Commission, but speaking as an individual. I appreciate the chance to make some comments that the ZBA, we didn't have a lot of chance to, and I think that it's important that the Select Board hears some of our concerns. I have serious concerns with the state taking our oversight away. I think that we all do. Whatever happened to home rule? Developers are allowed to trample our bylaws, and all because projects that were duly permitted by the town were put on hold through no fault of the town. That's why we fell out of safe harbor. 501 Pond Street has been resurrected and permitted. 61 Waverly will most likely be permitted. These two projects being permitted should give us conditional SHI. I ask you, why doesn't the town deny the 10 to 60 Main and 55 West Union projects and let them appeal to the state? By then, we will be in safe harbor and have grounds to appeal if the state approves their appeal. Please see the article I sent you all today about an appeal in Falmouth with kind of a similar issue. I know it's different, but it's somewhat similar in the sense that they're being bombarded with additional 40Bs while they're in conditional they were in conditional SHI, but it fell off through no fault of the town. 10 to 60 Main will be built on the Nyanza Plume. Who will be responsible if A, someone gets sick, and B, the site is found to be too contaminated after the historic buildings are already demolished? Please hire an independent engineer to verify testing at the site. The EBA responses, which Michael mentioned, continue to refer us to the LSP paid for by the developer. We should also require a liquid vapor barrier, which is supposedly stronger than the other barriers. And I really would like us to not allow children in those buildings. These are arguably the most historically significant buildings in Ashland. They're made of solid granite milled in Ashland and will last forever. Henry Warren worked there when he standardized time for the entire world. His Lombard company, and later Telecron and Fenwal, employed thousands of people, and he was instrumental in forming the town we live in and love today. Henry received the LeMay Award alongside Dr. Einstein and owned 135 patents. Would we allow the building where Dr. Einstein worked to be demolished? I don't think so. Ashland has been in a water ban for many years. A ballpark assessment of the combined project's water use says we would have about 18,000 gallons per day left, enough for every Ashland resident to maybe brush their teeth twice a day. Please have a totally independent peer review done for the combined project water use. I tried to look at the peer reviews, and I saw that one referenced one of the other projects. I didn't find anything else where everything was combined in one big review. Maybe it's there and I missed it, I don't know. But I would appreciate if it would be checked and if a peer review be done. See what is really left for Ashland residents to drink after all these projects are built. I would also like you to push these developers to bond studies of water and sewer. The Mass Housing Approval Letter says, quote, they should work with municipalities to address water and sewer capacity concerns in the area. That's from the Mass Housing. The answer is always MWRA. My concern is that the MWRA corridor is being inundated with apartments also. Please do a peer review of MWRA usage, including all of the proposed projects along that corridor. The ZBA should reject the comprehensive permit application for 10 to 60 Main Street for many reasons. But Mr. Engler was Mr. Engler, this is a question, and I was hoping Lisa would be here to answer it. Was Mr. Engler still on probation when he applied to Ashland? Did he comply? Is a review being done of Mr. Engler's responses on the mass housing application? Some are very questionable, if not outright devious. Lastly, the town is being forced to deal with too many projects at once. I listened to the developers' responses on the draft conditions. Neither developer sounded overly concerned with the draft conditions. Is there pushback on height, number of units, water, sewer, parking, or traffic? The only concerns I heard were on stormwater. I previously sent some conditions I hope will be put on the projects. I hope that they would consider them. The ZBA took away local oversight of the Concom, the only other town board allowed to be involved with 10 to 60 Main. Why was this allowed to happen? Ashland should hire a peer 40B lawyer to help the town navigate this overwhelming situation and fight these ridiculous 40B laws. The money saved on infrastructure and personnel increases will offset any lawyer fees, I'm quite sure. I sincerely hope the town will do everything it can to fight these projects. They will change this town forever and not in a good way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. I'll open up the board. Any questions or concerns or comments this time?
Yeah, I'll make some comments. Thank you, Joan. So, you know, this is an extremely complicated issue, right? And so that I just want to be clear that there will be some conditions and put on the project as the ZBA works through this, and perhaps some other negotiations with the developer. In particular, right now, 10 to 60 Main, that one seems to be really has some of the greatest challenges to the community, and that ultimately housing in Massachusetts right now is such a hot item that the governor has turned her back on it, basically, you know, by supporting mass housing and taken all the power away from communities. And that while we might work towards trying to mitigate some of the items that you've outlined there, you know, that too comes at a cost in terms of trying to balance what we potentially could get back from the developer, while at the same time not risking losing anything that we might get from him. So the challenge is trying to determine when that scale tips, and it's extremely complicated, and would be significant challenge of financial burden to the community, I think, to let this end up in the courts. You know, whether or not the townspeople would want to spend, who knows, $500,000 to try to fight this and ultimately maybe lose. You know, I'm not sure that, but that could be a path, right? That could be a path that, that we could or could not take, but might not ultimately be productive. So I don't know if anybody has anything to add to that.
Without getting into specifics, because of an executive session that we had earlier this evening, I can tell you that, you know, your concerns have been well discussed. They have been heard. I don't think there's one member of this board that does not agree that this project is a project that's probably not beneficial for the town in any way, either from the traffic standpoint, safety issues, and again, the developer is into making money. The town is trying to keep our image as a growing community, but not a community that does not agree with some of the development that's happening right now. We like to try to keep our town somewhat small, though that'll never happen. That went out with the bathwater a long time ago, unfortunately. So we're trying to keep the town from minimizing the issues that are being created and trying to gain some value from I'm trying to keep my words very carefully so that way I don't step over them later on. That we keep our small town look, but at the same token, try to get as much as we are able to get from any and all developers that come into town. And we have 3 developers right now that are looking to put in many numbers of apartments in this town. So, and if they're 40Bs, we're relatively stuck in the fact that, like Claudia said, the state's not going to help in any way. This is what they want to see happen. It's another dictate from the state, but yet they don't provide us any additional funding to help deal with the issues that are created by this building, by this development. I would love to see, you know, a slow growth, but that's not going to happen. That happened over 40 years ago when another developer came in town and built all these condos around town. It was back then that the town fathers, and there were 3 at the time, said, Ashland's a bedroom community and there will be no additional commercial space. We are a bedroom community. Well, the sins of the father are now the sins of the sons and daughters, and we're paying for it. A lot of municipalities are paying for it, not just Ashland. But we hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying, or anybody for that matter, but for certain individuals to say that this board is pro-building or pro-developer, they don't, they didn't hear that coming out of my mouth, and I know they didn't hear it from the other 4. So I don't know where they're getting this information from. Maybe AI, but it's definitely not us.
Well, I can tell you that I spend a lot of time negating that idea myself, because I don't believe that either. I think you want the best for the town, I truly do. I think the one thing that I find very struggling is the fact that we're not willing to just deny at least 1060. For so many reasons, it's the wrong development for this town, and to want to stay the town that we are. It's 6 stories in the middle of downtown is never going to be the same, never. We have Chestnut Street that was just built, It was just opened, 6, 8 months ago? It's not even full. So where are all the people that need housing? This is not affordable, we all know that. People are coming into these apartments and they're throwing $30,000, $40,000 a year down the drain in rent, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And none of this makes any sense.
Doesn't make any sense to us, but it makes sense to the developers, or else they wouldn't
Well,
be
of
spending
course.
the money. Yeah.
Of course it does, yeah.
Can I?
Sure.
So, we know, we've had these conversations quite a bit, and, we've talked. And it's extremely complicated, and that's part of the problem, is that everything is very complicated. The SHI is a formula that the state has put out there, and they have, we're not really creating affordable housing, which is frustrating to all of us. In all this development, we're trying to figure out how we mitigate it for the community, because at the end of the day, we're going to have to figure out how to, have the kids that are living in these developments go to our schools and our roads and our bridges and the traffic. And, we want to make sure we plan as best we can. And it's really difficult when all this is coming at once. And I wish the system was easy enough to say we could just deny a project, but literally the system isn't built for that. Literally, this whole process, the 40B process, is not built for it to be denied. So our job, not really our job, it's really the ZBA's job, is to figure out how we can, like Claudia said, how we can condition it to a place where it's going to be the best possible outcome that we can potentially have for the project. And I know it's not going to be the project that everyone would potentially rather have there. And it's tough, and it's hard, and it's hard for the whole community, and we know that. But there's no silver bullet that's going to say, yep, now we can deny that, because that doesn't exist.
I don't agree, and I'll tell you why. And I don't agree because I think if you look at his application, and Jasmine put it back up on the site today, if you look at his application, there are areas on that application that are wrong. They are wrong, and he was denied in Wellesley. He went before the 40B, they banned him from 40B for a year, and then put him on probation for 3. I think you all know that at this point. And that is one thing, number one, if he was on probation when he put in ours, did he do everything he was supposed to do for probation? I don't know.
So that is actually up to the state to litigate. They're the ones that manage that, and Mass Housing is the entity that gave him his eligibility letter, and they are the ones that manage that. We do not litigate that. We can't. We literally, our process does not allow us to make that judgment on those.
I would argue that the town has the right to go to the state and say, we believe he lied on this application, and we believe that the application, that we should deny this application for that reason. And I would argue that is our responsibility.
Is there specific things that you could point to that says
Yes,
that?
I've sent them to you.
No, I'm just saying, it's, Joan, I'm just, I know there's a lot of feelings around this, and I get that. I get that more than, and if we had a perfect solution, we would have, trust me, we would have come to it.
Yeah.
So I know, it's tough. And but the whole thing with whether or not he is still in probation or is, if there is something that we can point to that changes the nature and scope of his application and that it was dishonest, then it still doesn't change. We can talk to the state, but it still does not change the ZBA process. That's literally a separate a separate process.
So here's one. I'll give you this sheet after. I'll just read this one, just for as an example. Are there any easements, rights-of-way, or other restrictions of record affecting the development of this site? He said no. There's an AUL deed restriction on it denying residential. Right there, that's outright wrong. Has the site or any of the buildings on the site been designated as a local, state, or national landmark? He said no. These buildings are designated historic on the state MACRIS, and I gave you all the information of the state MACRIS. They were also determined to be historically significant by the Ashland Historical Commission. Those are two examples of why his answer was wrong. I had three, and I'm kind of trying to find the third one. To the best of your knowledge, has this site ever been rejected for project eligibility site approval by another subsidizing agent or authority? He said no. You could argue that the AUL said that it can't be residential. I think those are pretty clear to me, so I don't know. But I appreciate your time, I truly do.
Yeah.
I'm on the Historical Commission, so you can
know.
imagine that seeing the
know.
historical buildings come down is
I know.
just breaks my heart.
I don't.
I think we're the clockers. I think it's our town. It's us.
I know.
So it is. Yes. Does anyone else have anything for me?
You know, one thing that I would say to everyone is that everybody should be writing to the governor. Everybody should be reaching out to, people who have more power than we have. I would just suggest that, we might not be able to do anything for ourselves at this point, but, maybe we can do something for future and maybe they could develop some plans for how to build housing that would actually support people who can't afford to live in Massachusetts, as opposed to
Legitimate
enriching
affordability.
developers.
True. Absolutely. And we have worked, Michael and Connie and I have tried to work with Senator Spilker and Jack Lewis. And basically we're told that there was nothing they would do. So
We were told the same.
I think they also told us that the town would have to come to them to work with them. So if you were told the same, then that tells you something too.
Yep.
I'll remember it in the voting booth. I don't know about anybody else.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time, folks.
No, we appreciate your
We
passion.
did not have that chance, so we do
No,
appreciate it.
no, we appreciate it as well.
So my point is to your point. This is a very complicated process. Why don't we have a 40B expert helping us? We're a small town. We have a small town government, and there have been missed opportunities. We built 400 units on Memorial Drive. We only allowed 10% affordable. Why didn't we ask for 20 or 25%?
Connie, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I sat down with the developer before he started building, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was that this board would not accept anything less than 25%. And he laughed at me. He said, "We'll never do that. We'll never do that." And that was before he put shovel to the ground. And that meeting took place up at the old Fafton property. And we were outside having this discussion. He said he didn't want 25%. We said the town will take 25% and wants 25%. And he said that'll never happen. When you do those types of projects, they have control.
And he was given permission to build 400 units. All right.
He was given permission because Mass Housing gave them. There was a 40B. But he wanted to come in at a 40B originally, when we had that first discussion. And then he changed his mind about doing everything differently.
So Connie, we don't have any town-wide, we don't have like an inclusionary zoning policy where, a bylaw, where there has to be a certain percentage affordable. So without an inclusionary zoning bylaw, it's incredibly tough to negotiate higher than,
Okay.
you know, like, and that's the same thing with the Chestnut Street apartments. It's literally, it conforms to the zoning. So if it conforms to the zoning, they don't have to give more than what's there. And that's.
They don't have to give anything.
They
if
don't have to give
want
anything, yeah.
They can, I mean, if you look at some of the Fafford housing when that was built, there's not much affordable there. And unless the people that are working in town understand and push through at all the different levels, then you're not going to have it happen. And since I've been sitting here, this board has become much more educated. I know when I first came on the select board, I did not understand the difference between 10% and 25% and what you can count. So it's an educational process that all of us have gone through. You know, it's an ongoing process and it's an ongoing education.
And yet-
And the Cirrus Apartments, I think people felt like we needed that housing there, right? We specifically zoned that area of town for transit housing with the idea that people would live there and take the train, right? That was, we all thought that was a great thing for the town. The unfortunate part is that we only got 10% affordable versus 25% affordable.
It's interesting how developers can turn that around, though, when we ask for too much and say, all right, I'll build what I want, I'll make it 40B. I get confused.
So it is confusing, right? I think
very-
that a developer typically makes more money, stands to have greater profit with
Regular
following
housing.
regular zoning, right? Because they don't have to have, low-income housing or affordable housing.
Affordable housing.
So, but if they want to just kind of zoom through and not have to deal with anything, they go the 40B route, and it cuts into, on some level,
But
their
it-
profit. I don't know if it really does, but on some level it does. And then, but they zoom through, so it's.
But it was also why 10 years ago, we did our very first our housing production plan, because we started to get educated, and when we put that first one in place, and we had Cirrus go in, we were in safe harbor for a while, and then we did a second housing production plan, again to try and safe harbor, and stay in that safe harbor, but then things happen beyond our control. We can't make someone build something if they're not ready. So, it's part of the information that you shared back with us that, now Pond Street is coming online and a couple of these other things. Well, until they have their certificate of occupancy, we can't count them yet. So, yeah, it'll be great when 501, but they haven't even put shovel to the ground yet for 501 Pond Street. And that's a developer who worked with us without it being a 40B, who was willing to do the 25%, which then allowed us to count all those units, right? There are also people in town who push back when we say, let's push for the 25%, like we did for the 20 units we built on Pond Street. And there were people who said, well, you're only getting 4 units of those 16, even though 25% are affordable. We didn't create that law. We're just trying to work it to the best of our ability. So yes, when these apartments go in that are 40B, they're going to be 25% affordable, but we're going to be able to account all those apartments toward our affordable housing number.
Right.
So that once some of these are done, we can hopefully then get back in safe harbor and keep ourselves that way. But it's a learning process, and it's a lot of information, and, it's not an easy process.
And I think, since you used the Pond Street example, didn't you say that Falmouth was appealing using that exact situation because they had?
We let Mass Housing know all this information when we gave them our response for this first 40B back a year ago, or whenever it was, for 10 to 60 Main Street. We said to them, we have been working with a housing production plan. We have been working to get to our 10% affordability. We have these projects that didn't happen. We have UGC on Memorial Drive that we're waiting on. And Mass Housing still said, we are approving this project.
I know, but maybe an expert that knows more than we do would
Our
help.
lawyers, Lisa Mead, who was sitting here, and her firm, they train other law firms on how to do 40B processes. So,
Right, and one of them happened to be the attorney that represents Manchester of the Sea.
Pucci?
Yes.
no.
No, he was
Pucci
an
not-
employee.
No,
He-
no. Or Pucci was at one
He-
point.
at
but
one
Pucci
point,
does not
he-
work with them. And Pucci made mistakes, which is why certain things were able to happen. Our law team trains other lawyers on the 40B process. They understand it. So we've been hearing this for 6 or 8 months. We need to hire someone else. We need to hire someone else. We need to get someone else. They've had, I think, 3 or 4 lawyers from their team look at what's going on here.
And yet, nobody knew that the developer for 1060 had been banned by the state for a year and probation for 3
He
more
was
years.
suspended, and then he had probation for 3 years.
Right.
That happens. I'm sure there's many developers
But why
who've had
didn't our
issues.
lawyers know that? Why weren't we aware of that?
Can't give you an answer for that, I don't know.
Maybe not relevant.
Yeah, I think it was because he was eligible.
Right,
It
he was
wasn't-
eligible to refile,
Yeah.
to be developing again.
His suspension was lifted.
As far as I know, there are no public records saying that he has performed what he needed to do to become eligible again.
He was only suspended for a year, so it was only for a year
I
that he
understand.
couldn't do anything.
Right.
And then he's been on probation for 3 years. I don't know the exact timing of the probation or when it
I
ends.
think it was lifted actually after 9 months.
Oh, okay.
So,
It was
yeah.
changed from a year to 9 months.
yep. And so I think, to your point, is why didn't our attorneys say, hey, this guy, he's a snake in the grass and he's already been suspended once? And no, they didn't say that to us. And whether or not they should have or found that information and provided it to us, I don't know. But the fact is that it does look like when he submitted his application, he was at that time now eligible. There is the question about whether or not he needed to meet some additional requirements, and, we are actually still investigating that piece. But even that, to Brandy's point, we don't litigate that. So even if we find that that's the case, that he, it makes for an interesting idea and a point, and I don't know, could we make something of it? I'm not sure we could, but we are, still, I've been reaching out to different people at Mass Housing, trying to find that out. But it is up to them to enforce it, not us. And whether or not we could ever make anything from that, it is highly questionable. But first, let's find out what the answer to that is. Was he still within the time frame of needing to do these additional requirements? And if so, did he do that? First, let's figure that out, and then we can see if there's any value for us in that.
Okay.
There may not be, there may be, but there may not, very well may not be, because it isn't up to us.
It's up to Mass Housing. They're the ones that have the say in everything, Connie, they really do.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
Mass Housing is the overseer of all this,
Right,
of all this action.
right.
So they're the ones that are responsible. I mean, they're the ones that we're asking the questions for, too.
I mean, I think that we all know that every day you hear from some official in the state government, very often it is the governor, talk about the need for housing. And that is like, she has been laser focused on that since she was
Tunnel
elected.
vision.
And so, the Senate president had a meeting with town officials and mass housing in her office very early in this process. That's not very common that that sort of meeting takes place, and it didn't help us. That's how laser-focused the governor is on this particular issue.
And there are studies, there are reports that show us that the amount of housing constructed in the last 20 years did not match it was the 20 years before. So there are studies that show here in Massachusetts, we haven't built as much housing as we did years before, and people want to live here.
So I'm going to ask, I'm going to wrap this up by 8 o'clock. And I, believe me, there's not one of us that don't agree with what you folks are doing and what you're
Okay.
saying. But I
Thank you for your
appreciate.
time.
No, Connie, thank you. I appreciate your persistence. We appreciate all the work that you put into this, both you and Joni and others. The unfortunate thing is, no matter what we do or what we say, Mass Housing is going to put this project through. What we can do is put conditions. The zoning board, planning board can put conditions on this project. And these are the things that need to get done. So.
That's true, that's that fine line, that's the
That's
fine
the
line that
fine
we
line.
walk, right?
Yeah.
And don't get too excited about what we might get out of this.
Yeah. So, but thank you.
I don't think that the developer has seen any of the conditions at this point, that maybe
They're still in
touched
draft,
upon a
so
couple
I-
of things,
Yeah,
but
they're still in draft, so I
Right.
don't know.
yeah, there hasn't really been any conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that that's a process. Yeah, so that's, currently in draft form, and things can change. Things can find their way in there, things can find their way out. But it is a process, and, at this point, we have until, let's see, I think December 9th is when that hearing is, and then 40 days beyond that to,
Yep.
to work.
All right. Well, thank you, and I appreciate,
Right to the governor,
yeah.
he needs to know how.
Yeah. We're small fish in a big pond, unfortunately. No, but I feel the same way. Well, that's in the, yeah, yeah, yeah. But thank you. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, thank you. Okay, moving on. Under old new business. No, sorry, tax classification hearing. Vote to close the tax classification hearing. And we decided at a prior meeting that we were going to do one tax rate. And I believe you're the one that made the motion on that, too. Yes. Do you agree with that? So, do we entertain a motion to,
Was there any other discussion
Well,
that people wanted on that, or
Yeah,
not?
was there information that came out of town meeting that,
No,
Would
we
be-
just have to wait till town meeting to close the public hearing.
gotcha,
Just so we can capture all the appropriations when we submit the recap sheet.
so this is the time to close it.
I move that we vote to close the tax classification hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. So the tax classification hearing is over, and that'll give Michael the opportunity to do what needs to get done. Okay. Next on our agenda. We want to do this one next. Under old new business, certification of the vote that took place at November 19th, 2025, Ashland Special Town Meeting accepting the donation of land located at 0 Oregon Road, consisting of 14.26 acres. Who wants to discuss that? We talking about the Donnelly property?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly do that. Yep, so this is a request, obviously, that is related to the town meeting vote that happened. And so the board needs to do a certificate of vote, you know, just to accept the donation of land.
We have something here.
Yep,
with
I
respect to
move that pursuant to Article 1 of the November 19th, 2025 Ashland Special Town Meeting, that the Select Board accept a donation of land located at 0 Oregon Road, Ashland, Massachusetts, further described in deeds recorded in the Middlesex Registry of Deeds in Books 20737, page 75, and as shown on a plan recorded as Plan 1158 of 1961, and as shown on the Town of Ashland Assessor's Map 05, Lot 0005, including 14.26 acres more or less for the purpose of expanding the town forest, meaning and intending to dedicate this land as Article 97 land, so-called, under the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and further to authorize the Chair, Joseph J. Mignani Jr., on behalf of the Select Board, to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate the acquisition of the property.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Oh, there's the discussion. Any other discussion?
The only thing I think is that because we're adding this to Article 97 land, it gives us a little
Flexibility.
just flexibility on other properties that we need to look at.
Right. So we ready to take a vote?
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Henry. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's 5-0. Thank you. Make sure that we don't have that, do we have the documentation so we can sign it now? Well, at the end of, don't leave right away because we have to sign that document.
Yep.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay. Discuss hunting on public land. This was a letter that should be in your packet, with respect from a gentleman from Tewksbury, who sent a letter requesting bow hunting on town property. He had specific pieces of property. Well, Ashland doesn't allow hunting on town property, town forest anyway. Any other properties, they have to get the board's approval. In the number of years that I've been on this board, I don't ever remember the board providing an individual.
I thought we did do one time,
It was,
allowed
it had
someone to do
it had to do with,
bow and arrow hunting.
it was bow and arrow hunting to thin the herds.
Within the deer herd,
the
yeah, well,
deer
that's,
herds.
that's basically,
But that was something that was asked by,
but, and didn't we approve it?
we approved that because it was asked by the, the Department of,
Environmental protection.
yeah,
It was requested by the state,
state,
the
yes,
DEP,
DEP.
is that
I
what it
thought it was
was?
an individual.
Or was it? Yeah,
Oh,
was it
well,
an
we
individual?
allowed that individual to do that under that jurisdiction, but not just to go hunting matter. It was to thin out the herd.
Right, but, I mean, that's what they're doing, right? If they're going deer hunting, they're helping to thin out the
Well,
herd of deer.
This is not, that
Right.
wasn't, this is not his.
No, he's just looking to go hunting. He
Hunting, right.
sees that we have a 500-acre town forest, and he's asking to go hunting,
Well,
with bow
the town-
hunting.
The town forest, there is no hunting, bow
Oh,
hunting
at
at
all?
all. No.
Not
And
even
that's
if approved by the select board?
in the bylaws. Absolutely.
I thought I
Other
looked and
town, other
said,
town properties that are not affiliated with the town
thought you
forest.
shared
can't.
something back that said,
Yeah, I thought it was a
Select board.
permission thing.
Yeah, other town properties have to get the permission from the select board
Right.
to hunt on town property, but the town forest, there is no hunting on town property, on town forest property.
Came up with a discussion at town meeting.
Yeah,
hunting and trapping are prohibited. Oh, okay.
so my response was that we haven't done it in the past, and I don't see other than that one time. But that was for a specific reason. But then they heard. So, but I'll do whatever you folks want to do. I was just following the guidelines of the bylaws.
Yeah, and he probably did it when he did it, because typically deer hunting starts December 1st. Or November 1st, I forget which one. I only know that because when I lived in Pennsylvania, the first day of deer hunting was a holiday.
I do know that I think they're in mating season right now, which is why they're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Tennessee, we didn't have it.
Why they just stay home?
Anyway,
You know,
I
I'm
mean,
glad I'm not-
I'm not
glad I'm
one
on
way or
this
the
side
other,
of the
but my
table.
feeling, I mean,
If there's not a real good reason,
I would say
let's-
just, you
yeah,
know,
leave
thank
it.
you for your
Yes.
inquiry, but
Yeah.
But no, thank you.
not happening.
Well, I already basically said that to him, but I can confirm that
Yep.
with another email sent to him. That I can do, not a problem. Okay. We are on updates on the 40B. We already did that. I'm going to turn this over to Michael. This is discussed the Joseph P. Keith Technical High School Building Committee and the potential of a new addition or a potential new building coming up.
Yes.
Discussion.
Yeah, so I think I'd mentioned to you before that Keefe Tech was in the process of looking to enter into the MSBA process for a new facility eventually, and so they have started that process, and as you all well know, just from the process that we went through with Mendez, one of the first things you need to do is form a school building committee. So that is what has been completed so far. I did want to just let everybody know that Ed Berman, who is chair of the Keefe Tech School Committee, is on the building committee as well. So just wanted to let you know that we'll certainly have a voice in that process. I think it's getting a little bit interesting, especially vis-a-vis Framingham. And, you know, Keefe Tech, I think, came up with a very responsible, very taxpayer-friendly, if you will, funding plan for the feasibility study, which Framingham is pushing back on, the methodology. So I think we're waiting to see just how that process plays out, and I think they need a city council vote, so.
What are, what are Framingham's concerns around the methodology specifically?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So Keefe has figured out a way to do this through cost savings in a couple of areas to do this feasibility study without going to bond. And a couple of the Framingham city councilors feel like they should go to bond for the feasibility study. So
they have the money to do it, and they'd rather go to bond for
well,
it?
Keefe Tech
Why?
would rather. Yeah, I don't know, Makita. I have not heard the reasoning yet.
Keefe Tech would rather?
No, the city of Framingham would rather Keefe Tech bond as opposed to Keefe Tech's plan. So,
It's a big city for you.
yeah, it's interesting.
Do they know where they would build?
I think they're, part of the feasibility process is to look at
To
the
figure
site,
that out?
but,
But still, they must have some ideas.
yeah, just informal conversations I've had with Superintendent Evans, they're looking at, the same campus or same site.
I mean, we know they have the pool that isn't usable at this point,
Correct.
so that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And how does,
Reusing that space potentially.
do we get to choose what vocational school we want to be connected with, or how does that work?
It's really, I think, more based on the students. So, most of our students that do go to a technical school go to Keefe, but we do have a couple that go to one of the agricultural schools.
Yeah, but that's because the agricultural school is different than, that draws from a larger group because it it's very different course offerings, right? But there are many technical schools very similar to Keefe. So how do we associate with Keefe as opposed to Assabet or?
You know, we have an agreement with them. I don't know, I don't think
Probably
we have agreements with any other.
Proximity, I
you know,
would think,
communities.
right?
Yeah, I
when
mean,
it-
I think
when-
it's mostly
When Keefe,
proximity.
I'm sure it's one of those things that all those years ago, when Keefe was created, it was
Yeah, no,
looked
I
at
get,
what
yeah.
communities could support it and build it. I mean,
But I'm just curious as to, you know, what if we felt that another one served our students better? You know, what, could we join with that consortium as opposed to?
I think we potentially could after we look at the agreement that we have with Keith and see if there's any type of exit provision in there. And once we comply with that, I would think that we would have the ability to go where we want. You know, just like Keith has accepted, you know, a couple of new communities, I think recently, you know, Holliston, I think, or maybe Hopkinton. Yeah, pretty recently. But I don't know the exact answer, Claudia.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah, just curious.
Well, and the, how students are chosen is different now too, right? It's a
Well,
lottery
they're looking at
versus-
that, yeah. and
I
they're
thought that
looking at
was already
changes.
decided.
Well, yes, they were looking at changing it to something called apportionment. And I know that the, you know, leaders at Keefe Tech were concerned about that because of how much influence Framingham would have in decisions under that type of model. So they were looking at something, I forgot the exact term of it. I don't have it right in front of me, but, you know, something to basically mitigate that.
I think some of the vocational schools have been now forced to go to
Yeah.
a lottery system
Yes.
because they were more selective and sometimes excluding students, you know, for reasons that one would not embrace for.
Right, right. And so, yes, the lottery system, the apportionment piece is like, so Framingham would get more
X number,
students
right.
Right.
under the lottery system, under the apportionment process.
Does that mean that Framingham generally spends the largest chunk of money on the
Yes.
project? Okay, okay, I'm just,
So, yeah, that's the update on that. I wanted to let you know about the billing committee and the,
But there's also, I think, with vocational schools, I believe, they kind of get to tell the community, though, that I'm not sure you vote. I think that you're just, the commitment is kind of an automatic.
Wasn't,
We
that's
have
part
to
of
ch-
the agreement, right?
yeah, I think that's something that we definitely need to check on.
Yeah.
Because that could be a potentially big expense. I do think communities have to vote on it, because I think they've ended up having
think so, too,
overrides
yeah.
in some communities specifically to pay for regional vocational assessments. So-
Well, and it's, I think you hear stories of regional schools, not just VOTEC, and I think it might be a little bit
That's
different
different, that's
for
what I'm saying.
VOTEC.
Regional schools,
right?
that you have to have a vote in each
In each
community.
town. I think for-
Vocational schools, I think it's different.
Interesting, okay.
I don't know, because we vote the budget, we vote the amount of funds that we send to Keefe are part of our budget process.
Yeah, but they basically tell us what we own. We don't.
Well, it's
there's
based
not a
on the
lot of-
students, right? They give us a rate per student.
Yeah, so on the assessment, yeah, the operational assessment. But, you know, back in 2014, I sound ancient, back in 2014, remember when we did the school roofs, we did Keefe as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to go to each town meeting.
And get a vote.
get
Get a vote.
Right.
And, yeah, it was still a town.
We
in
had to
Framingham
vote it.
As well.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm basing.
Yeah, maybe.
Something off of.
There's something that we just get assessed, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's the operational
Yeah,
assessment.
maybe
They give
that's
us the
what it
number
is.
and say, pay out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, maybe it's a town meeting vote, but not a ballot.
Not at the polls?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure.
It would be good to check, like, look at the agreement as, to Claudia's point.
Yes,
Do we,
we did that.
do we feel like it's still benefiting us as a community, and review the agreement that we have with them?
Okay.
Good. Anything else? Good? All right. Okay. Request funding from the Select Board gift account for the employee recognition event.
Yeah, and I believe this is, oh, there's Susan. She popped up on the screen. It's the 19th, is that correct, Susan?
Yes, it is the 19th. And we're requesting up to $1,500.
And so this is to pay for the longevity gifts
Yep.
and things of that nature.
And this is at the community center.
Community center, just, you know, you're all invited. I'd encourage you to attend.
Noontime?
On the 19th?
On the 19th. We're starting at 10 or 11, Susan?
I think probably 11 would be
Okay.
the start time.
Okay.
No kickball.
Maybe you could
No, and I think
issue-
they have a program in there before that. I don't think we can get in before 11.
issue a calendar invite, maybe.
Good idea.
I can do that.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I move that we approve the funding of not to exceed $1,500 for the employee recognition event happening on December 19th, coming out of the Select Board gift account.
Second? No, is there a second?
Oh, I thought you were seconding
no,
it.
no.
Second.
I could do that, but no. I'll let you folks.
Claudia,
do the work.
Claudia second.
You got it. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes 5-0. Any help you need, Sue, let us know. Please.
Any help she needs?
Yeah,
Any?
What are you gonna do?
set up tables.
Okay, that's good.
If they have a function beforehand, we're gonna be,
Okay.
we'll be
All
cutting
right.
it short. I see that's why we're doing it at 11, right? Just to get everything set up. That's what I thought. Okay. All right, cool. All right, now we have a bunch of wonderful things
There's
we
one
need
more
to do.
joint
we have
meeting with
one
the
more.
Board of Health.
Discuss setting up a joint meeting with the Board of Health to discuss nicotine-free generation.
Can they come to our next select board meeting?
I don't see why not.
I think that might
January
solve that
7th sounds
problem.
good to me.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
ask them.
we'll send them an invite.
Is this follow-up to the presentation that we had
Yes.
regarding potentially stopping at the sale of cigarettes and stuff at
Yeah.
a certain point?
Yep. So we'll schedule that for a January 7th meeting. I'm sorry. Am I keeping you up?
No. It's all good.
It's all gone, it's all good, okay. All right. Now, vote on annual license renewals. Oh, you didn't want Claudia to read that?
Do that anymore.
I know.
I will
Yes, we
second
have.
that.
Before we do, Susan, are there any changes that came up before this list was drafted?
No, you're all set.
We're all set? Okay, all right, great. Okay, then I accept that motion, and I accept the second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
That's 5-0. Thank you.
And that is all the licenses.
That's all the licenses. Yes, it is. Which is incredible. Okay, moving right along. Yeah, moving right along. Okay, I don't have my other section of my,
Update on town meeting
Thank
by
you.
the town
by
manager.
town manager. Thank you.
Well, Lisa actually gave a pretty decent update, but on some of the articles. But we actually had a fairly well-attended town meeting. Catherine, do you remember exactly how many we had?
142.
Yeah, it was.
141 or 142.
Yeah, not bad for a special town meeting, but it did go by relatively quickly. Take from that what you will. But a lot of, I think, unanimous votes, or not unanimous, close to unanimous, indicating some agreement on a lot of the articles. And like Lisa said, a lot of it was very much real estate driven, and I think we picked up a few pieces of property, some donations, and some potentially moving forward with some others that, the town's very concerned, I think, and understandably so, about development. And these are opportunities that we're taking at the best, best opportunity we can for, I should say, to get some of this property and preserve it as open space. So I think there was a lot of that. Ultimately, the citizens petition, I think, was withdrawn, and we'll have a further discussion about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that participated, including the board, and, Catherine, it was her first warrant.
She survived.
Yeah, it won't be her last. But this, had some interesting twists and turns. And, yeah, it takes a lot to put on a town meeting, so thanks to everybody.
It's a lot
And,
to even be able to talk at town meeting.
I'm sorry?
I said it takes a lot to even be able to speak at town meeting.
3 minutes worth, yes. So,
Used to be 15 minutes of glory, now it's 3 minutes of pain.
yeah, and just a couple other reminders. So we do have the tri-board meeting next Wednesday. I will have information for you on Friday.
Okay.
Some, different options to look at, different information to look at pursuant to, the discussions that I had with you individually. And,
Hey, Michael, will you
Yeah.
be making yourself available before Wednesday to us after we get a chance to review those materials over the weekend, presumably before the tri-board meeting? Do you have some time set aside, we'd be able to entertain questions or maybe have some brief conversations for clarity if needed?
just reach out and we will find a time over the weekend or
Or
anytime.
Monday, or, yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, because I would expect you to have some,
yeah,
some clarifying questions, because there are going to be a few different options.
great.
Yeah, and then also the holiday stroll is this weekend as well. So hope to see everybody. And then Catherine, you want to give an update on the holiday program real quick?
Just one more thing related to
Yeah.
town meeting, so we did pass the comprehensive plan. So
Yeah,
we do need to determine what that implementation committee is gonna look like, and, so either we need to get together with the planning board and have that discussion, and then determine who from the select board is going to be representing on that, and then, how we're gonna pick other members.
That's a comprehensive plan where people said they didn't want development in the town. It's
Yes,
that one, right?
Yeah. And then there was the, just related to that, I need to follow up and see if that has been sent to the state, because the planning board did take a vote to endorse it at your joint meeting.
Right.
And I think that's what's needed, so I just needed to make sure that it was sent to them. Yeah, Catherine? Oh, she's still writing.
Yes, so we are actually in the middle of our holiday program. So it's a couple different parts. So the first part is the Thanksgiving meal distribution, which took place the Friday before Thanksgiving. It went really well and really smoothly, thanks to all of our partners. We worked with the Ashland Emergency Fund, Restaurant Depot, Market Basket, Doregon Eatery helped, dedicated volunteers and staff, and it really went smoothly, and we were able to get turkeys and all the fixings out to a bunch of families. So, and then the next part is the holiday gift giving program. So all of our sponsors this week were dropping off gifts for our applicants, and that went off really well. And so all of our elves are sort of behind the scenes and organizing that. So a big thank you again to volunteers and our dedicated staff for putting this together, and also all the sponsors. The town really showed up and came out and extremely generous. So thank you to everyone. And next week we'll be handing out all of the gifts.
And how many kids do we adopt, or however we want to phrase it?
So the one
Sponsor.
person I actually forgot to thank is Claudia, who helped us match up all of the sponsors and families. Do you remember how many?
I know that there were 101 families and 178 sponsors. And I
That's
could
pretty
probably
good.
look up and see how many kids by the time it comes around to me if you want. But Yeah, you know, the town is very special in that way, right? And,
Yeah.
it's really powerful, and all the volunteers, and, you know, I've seen many of the volunteers over the last few years, and they're the same people who show up, and it's pretty special.
Yeah, so thank you,
Thank-
Claudia.
No, thank you, no, thank you.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
You good? All right. We're good to go. Board reports. There's nothing else you wanted to add? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Board reports. Yolanda.
So November was busy. I had an MMA policy committee meeting where we talked a little bit about the financial cliff report that MMA put out. And then I had a board meeting. I actually had the opportunity to go up to the State House for the Legislative Gubernatorial Advisory Committee, which was actually pretty interesting. I'd never sat in on one of those in person. And then we had a Metro West Regional Collaborative meeting where we talked a little bit, we had some historic preservation, so that was interesting, and that's something I can share out if people are interested. Tomorrow morning is the senior breakfast at the senior center. They start serving at 9:30. I think you have to register beforehand, but I expect if you show up, they might have a few extra spaces, but they start serving at 9:30. Then tomorrow night is the YMCA Dream Big auction at the Sheraton, so that's always a fun night. It's one of their major fundraisers. They're looking at, the Y has been in front of the planning board. They're waiting to get their final approvals. They're currently looking at a potential phased approach for construction based on their fundraising goals. They're not quite where they'd like to be. And of course, as with anything, costs are a little bit higher, and so they're determining, and probably within the next 2 or 3 months, they'll really have a better understanding of how they're going to move forward and when. The potential, though, is to still do groundbreaking sometime in the spring. If they do a phased approach, they do one section and well all the clearing. And then the goal would be that they would then get their funding and be able to just keep moving the construction along. So they're working on that and working and talking with banks and things like that. And that's all I got, except, as we said, the holiday stroll is on Saturday. Lots of great performances around. Nutcracker for Hopkinton Center of the Arts is the weekend of the 12th and 13th. The Nutcracker for the Dancing Arts Center at the Norwood Theater is the 19th, 20th, and 21st. And I think that's all I got. So, yeah, this is our last meeting. Ooh, this is our last meeting. Ooh, that means we might be in for a treat. Anyway, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Makita.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of things. First off, thank you, everyone, for signing up for on the spreadsheet for the different committees for liaison. We have one slot that's open for Council of Aging that we just need to kind of figure out.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
You can't see this off TV, but she's staring right at me.
I am not, I would like to make it clear to the audience at home that I am not staring at the chairman at this time. However, I will reiterate that we do need to get that slot filled. Let's try to do that by January if anyone's interested.
I'd be happy to do it.
If you're interested, thank you. Thank you,
You're
Mr. Chair.
welcome.
So you can go to the senior breakfast at 9:30, and then you go to the Council on Aging meeting.
There you go.
Wow.
So
They have
thanks.
a meeting tomorrow.
I know that.
It's the first Thursday, first
It is the
Thursday of
first
the month.
Thursday. Unfortunately, I can't be there the first Thursday tomorrow.
So no worries about that. But I think as we open up the year, I'd ask folks that as we are attending these meetings, if there are some things that we need to bring up, it might be helpful maybe during board reports or any other time that we need to put stuff on the agenda that we need to discuss from the boards that we're liaising to. Mr. Chair, I'd appreciate that. And if folks can remember to do that going forward, I
We
think
can do that.
that
Just
would
shoot
be
me an
great.
email, or Brandy an email before we do our agenda setting meetings. Then
Excellent. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Thanksgiving Ashland Farmers Market. holiday market. That was a lot of fun. Lots of good eats, lots of good people. Good to see the town out supporting that at this time of year. So that was lovely. And I can't recall if the veterans event, it was before or after our previous meeting. It was after. And I did get a chance to attend that. Thank you so much for your incredible words, Ms. Bennett and Mr. Herbert. A great presentation as always. And it's, of course, a big thank you to public safety folks down at the staff down at the community center, everyone in Ashland who made this event happen for our veterans. I come from a military family. My grandfather, my father, my brother, my stepbrother, all served in various branches. So, veterans issues very near and dear to my heart, my family's heart. It was great to see our community stand up and thank the individuals who keep our freedom intact. Freedom isn't free. So, again, thank you so much for making that event happen, and thank you to our veterans. And that's all I have for this time.
Thank you, Makita. Claudia.
Thank you. Also at the Veterans Day event, the Honorable Michael Fabry was the speaker, and really, really interesting to hear from him. And his wife, Carrie Fabry, who I feel like is probably the real winner in that family, because she has been a remarkable substitute for the Ashland Public Schools for many years, and a favorite among many children. Just to go back to, I just did a little calculation, and there were 172 children that were serviced by the gift program, so pretty special.
Nice.
Yeah,
It is
awesome. And then I finally just wanted to thank really the DPW and the police and fire yesterday for the DPW for stepping up, and I know that they've been looking hard for plow drivers and that, but when you think about it, this was kind of a little tricky storm, and the roads were pretty slippery, and they certainly stepped up, and I had occasion to be kind of in the downtown area for a good portion of the day, and I can't tell you how many times I heard sirens, police, fire, ambulance going up and down 135, and so thank you to all of them, because certainly on days like that and weather conditions like that, they are often pressed into service very frequently. So that's it. I missed the market, the Thanksgiving market. I was at Santa's Village, so,
Went saw the big man himself.
Yeah, so thank you.
So I have a couple of things. It's been a few weeks, so, and my notes are not quite extensive, so I may need some help from Michael or Joe, but a few weeks ago, we met with our legislative delegation for it's supposed to be a quarterly meeting, but we hadn't met with them in quite a while, and gave them an update, had a very lengthy discussion about 40B. And we also talked a lot about supporting communities with the financial burden that is happening, not just from 40Bs, but in general because of our operating budgets. So we did talk a little bit about that and about the challenges that Ashland is facing. We asked about if there were any updates on the NIPs, just in case anyone is, keeping score. There's no new NIP information. Also, we did mention to them that about that nicotine-free generation thing that was coming before the Board of Health to see if there was anything happening on the state level, and there is not. So just as an FYI. And there was one thing that I just, like I said, don't have extensive notes on, that I believe Jack was, Representative Lewis was saying about our alcohol licenses, and that the home rule petition that we have pending, it needs to be tied to economic development zones or something like that. Is that about right? And
Sounds right. Yeah.
okay, that's all I had in my notes. But but that's still moving through the process, right? So, and that's the extent of that meeting. In addition to the stroll this weekend, and the tree lighting.
Yes.
We're gonna have the tree lighting. I'm sure Santa will make an appearance. Illuminate Ashland is the weekend after, so on the 13th. And that is downtown Ashland as well, so that'll be a great event. Chrissy Reynolds from Anne Marie's Dance is the maestro of the event. And I know I'm gonna probably be pulled into service for that as well. So it should be a great event, because it always is.
And Santa Claus is going to be driving around town on a
Yes.
fire truck on
Sunday.
You guys take it on
Sunday.
take it on my Sunday.
Oh,
You know, I heard something funny today on the radio when they were talking about, a councilman, I think from Boston at one point said, if one councilman speaks, they all speak. And it was because, if one said something, everybody felt like they had to say something,
yes,
right? And I said,
yes.
oh, yeah.
So.
Hey, you're making it easier for me. That's why.
Yeah, and then
Less that you
as,
have to say, Joe.
and then as Yolanda reminded me about a week or so ago, it is our last meeting of the year, which, as some of you may or may not have fond feelings about, every year I put our year in review to a poem. And I usually do it on our last meeting of the year. So I didn't have as much time as I usually do to pull it all together. So it's kind of it's not as extensive, but it will do.
It's not your
So
best work?
it's not my best work, but
It's all right, we'll be very forgiving.
okay. So I present to you all the Ode to Ashland 2025. As we approach the end of 2025, it's time to take stock of the year we survived. It really ran the gamut for this edition, from Mendez Bees to the Elon Musk petition. It was dominated in good part by 40B, 3 large-scale apartment projects, too much at once, we can all agree. The mill building project was the center of it all, concerns about Nyanza, traffic, and the height, proposed 5 stories tall. One by the high school and one on 135, the stress on our infrastructure will be felt townwide. There were lots of positive progress, and we all say hooray. The Arboretum is almost done. The pricey dog park is underway. After 2 long years, we finally finished the comprehensive plan. Very ambitious, now to try to accomplish what we can. Thank goodness for our consultant, the ultimate diplomat. Kept us on track and wrangled the 29 of us who were kind of like cats. Thanks to our crack team, the open space plan is now complete. We also added land to the town forest, which is a great feat. Rebuilding the Warren Barn and an ice rink on the lot, good-looking landscaping on the 126 roundabout. Lots of new staff this year in Town Hall, getting up to speed quickly for us all. With any crisis, Beth and Catherine are on the case, even to get an emergency porta potty during an untimely water main break. The Downtown Historical District didn't go through. Partnering with property owners to preserve our history is the thing to do. Great work done on the village burial ground, huge cleanup, and even GPR to see if unmarked graves can be found. Michael and his minions hosted 1,000 trick-or-treaters this year. Fabulous Clover Road opened with lots of great beer. We gave out grants and scholarships too, cheered on our marathon runners, including Makita, who flew. There was Downtown After Dark and Public Safety Night, new events engaging residents, such a great sight. Another season at the market and at Corner Spot, pulled off an Ashland Day in a crazy short time, a total long shot. Rumor has it that the downtown poles will finally come down, and the new YMCA hopes to break ground. 126 will finally be complete, and hopefully the water main work along Union Street. We have officially arrived at the holidays, downtown stroll, tree lighting, menorah, and Santa's sleigh. Dancing and singing at Illuminate, downtown is all lit up, it will be great. Looking ahead, it is going to be a really tough year. A budget crisis looms, that much is clear. Inflation has hit us hard, it is a game changer, with chaos in DC and grant funding in danger. I'm thankful for all of you and the rest of our crew. working hard for Ashland in all that we do. Now in my third term, ready for whatever it brings, I know without a doubt that together we can do hard things. And as we approach the end of this year, I wish you and yours so much holiday cheer. So, so happy holidays to
Very
everybody,
nice,
since this
Randy.
is
That was-
our last meeting, so.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
That was
Well done.
very, very nice.
It is one of my.
I would,
it
I would
becomes-
actually say that that was some of your best work.
Yes, especially when
And not
it was
ju-
short notice.
Well, and not just because I was specifically named in it, but I think it was awesome.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. It is one of my favorite things to do, because it really, like, it's funny because we do so much throughout the year and we really don't take stock of it all that often. So,
No,
but,
never do.
but it's been a challenging year, but it's been a good year. So, thank you to all of you, because honestly, it's really true. It's like, if it wasn't this group, this entire group, the staff we have, the people working together, it would just be so much harder to do what we do and to love what we do. Because honestly, nobody sits here and hates it, because it's just too much damn work if you hate it. So you have to love
The
it.
people who hate it do one term and then they're done.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but thank you to all of you guys, because it really makes it worthwhile because of all of you. So, thank you.
So you know that holiday lighting commercial? Well, this one house is lights all over the place, and then the house right next to it says ditto. I'm gonna do that right now. Ditto. Everything that you said, it couldn't be any heartfelt and warm. So thank you. And thank you to all of you. It's been an incredible topsy-turvy year near the end. And we'll get through this. We've got through it before. Some of you folks probably don't remember when Ashland was selected as a town for an ash dump. And that's how we started getting involved in politics. When the state thought Ashland could only be used for an ash dump. So, our legislative body in that meeting that we had was a little shortcomings, I would just say that. And I was a little disappointed, but I wasn't expecting the moon or the sun. Maybe just a little better understanding, but that's okay. We'll take care of that when the time comes. However, let's talk about some nice things. You're right, holiday lighting, the stroll, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Santa's going to be making his way through town. I think the schedule is on Facebook, so take a look at that. Take a look at the streets where the sleigh will be coming down and around. I know some neighborhoods have like a little get-together at the corners where they're waiting for Santa to come. So that may be something that you may want to do with your neighbors. Find a location and do something like that. I know the folks come down off of the Sandstone area, Indian Brook Road area, and they get right at the.
I think we can do pretty well just right across the street from my house.
Oh yeah, they're all
We
there.
have a new addition to add to that
Yes, you do.
this year, too.
That's pretty good. And then Saturday at Montenegro Square, he said 4:30. I know that the tree lighting ceremony will be there, and I know that I've been told Santa is definitely going to be there, so look forward to seeing all of you there with glasses in hand. Of course, it's hot chocolate. Nothing else other than that.
Like a nip.
Oh, jeez. On that, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your hard work over these years, for this year. You guys have done a great job. Catherine, it's been a baptism on the fire for you, and oh my goodness, God bless you both. And Beth Reynolds the same. You know, they're learning as they go along, and it's going to be an arduous process, but it's going to be one that you'll get through, and you'll look at it a year later and go, well, that really wasn't that bad after all, right? Boy,
Yeah, we'll go with that, Joe.
we're going to leave it at that.
That ain't what I'm hearing.
Wow. Wow. So with that said, happy holidays to everybody. I wish everybody the best, and let's hope for the new year, and the new year brings hope, springs eternal. So let's hope we get something good out of this. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We'll see you January 7th.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Bye.